Once in a while, you come across people who make you fall in love with beauty of language. I'm talking about my guest today. My name is Gabelo Segeft Khang, and this is the Ink and Think podcast. My guest today is a playwright, a poet, and all the things that you've ever dreamed of becoming. His name is Soli Ramatswi. Soli, thank you so much for coming, my brother.
Thank you very much for having me here, brother.
How are you doing?
All good, all good. It's a very paced day,
Yeah.
but it's all going well so far. How are you?
I'm okay, and I'm grateful that you could actually make time to come and see me in your very, very tight schedule. So I'm gonna try and make this thing quick so that I can be able to release you. I want us to talk about. Okay, we're gonna talk about the journey of your poetry towards the end. I want us to talk about this beautiful album called Diphiri. Now, it's a beautiful album. It's I haven't had this feeling in a very long time. When I listen to Diphiri, every time I feel transported to a place that I don't know, but I'm transported back at home, the home that I don't even know hore exist, And another thing that I was aware that you did, I was like, this is a triple entendre, or it has triple meaning. Diphiri, obviously it would mean grave diggers. We have people that we call Diphiri, they're grave diggers. And then we also have hyenas. And then we also have secrets. Could you talk about this beautiful album? How did it come about?
So how it actually came about is that me and Masai, we were like, no man, we see we're writing all these works in English. But what reminds us of home, as much as we have the work that we do that reminds us of home, how can we really transport people home even if they haven't been there, right? So we were like, what's the best way to do that beyond doing all the works kasepedi, strictly kasepedi? So I would see it as a person who's like now just having to go and experience things like VR and everything. I'll call it this way. I'll use this parable. You know how VR, you wear those headsets and then it takes you to another world, right? So what you were saying is that Diphiri is just because, like, when you're having the audio experience of it, it transports you in that manner. Instead of having to see it here, you just go in here and then you see it at the back of your brain, right? It's a feeling of home. So it's taking someone home and allowing them to travel the streets that you were walking and feeling what you were feeling. And then the moment that happened, we were like, at least we were able to actually live in the work, and it reflects that for us, that we are able to even like be nostalgic about home. So that is what it was for us. It was just to do it without even having to plan so much. When you're just going like "Ki Christmas" or "Ki Good Friday," it was like that. It was like, let's go. We're just starting it. And then we just went to the studio, recorded the first 3 ones. I remember we were just even writing, creating the songs, because home is not a place that you necessarily always plan to go to. It's a place that you just go to because you have to. That's what it was for us.
Yeah, plus na Vatwali Mpopo N1. Yeah.
N1.
So Diphiri took me to N1. So
Yeah.
Kibuan nete when I'm saying it has triple meaning. Was
Yes.
that the intention?
It was. So firstly, people barely know about like how fluent, like I'll say, like personally, people sometimes don't know how fluent I am Gaspedi, right? So we see that as kisipiri. So a secret is not necessarily a secret to everybody. It's a secret because other people just don't know of it, right? So we were like trying to unveil and make Sipiri sa gore rena re bapedi to become a collective secret of the people who are able to hear this experience and know us, right? That's the first one. The second one, it's actually that because it has this, I don't want to say dark element, right? But let's go to Diphiri. Balring badrang by and everything, which is a sense of like community, which speaks of the Ubuntu and le botho, le gore, how people can show up for other people. Right? So it was a means of showing up for one another and to reflect that at home, and at the same time, the quarrels that can happen beyond that, like let's say the family quarrels. For example, when we're diving into Budio, it speaks about how even in the comfort of what is happening, go na le something that actually like disturbing in a way, like what right? So it reflects on that. And then re na le Diphiri, right? So Diphiri being like actual hyenas. So for those who didn't know, a hyena ge o kry-ile e jala gore la tso plate ka molomo le ka leleme, right? Meaning that it doesn't leave anything.
Yeah.
So ge ba re motho o tšerwe ke phiri, it means that the person disappeared, he died.
Oh, okay.
So that's why it experiences beyond the quarrels, there is a form of loss that is in there. So the loss actually is reflected in when we are confronting or questioning what death is. That's why like ntwa ke sekgalabjana sa meno a o se felelele, and then sa go sotla sentše se metša sentše se sotla. So meaning that we were just asking, when is the taking going to stop? Who's the last human who's going to be swallowed or devoured? And then at the same time, there is Fasi. Fasi actually unveils loss in a man's perspective, right? It was a story of a young man who actually lost a child through abortion, right? It was, so it was that, it was speaking about the male side of things, whereby it's like what happens beyond, and it's not taking away from the women and what they're feeling, but it's an acknowledgement of like, we have felt this as well.
The pain as well.
Yes, and this is how we are feeling it, right? So that's why there's that element as well of the death that happens around us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes sense because of when I was listening to Fasi. Fasi is the one that actually speaks about the loss of the child. I got.
Yes.
Obviously, the English phrase that came to my mind was, "I wish the ground could break and just swallow me up." That's what usually people say, you know. And then I also love how you actually painted this picture, saying, "At least your mom is gonna get to school, you know, but at least you're not going to die of hunger because of, you know, your dad is unemployed." Yeah, exactly. The freelancer, you know. But you wanna make kids. We wanna make kids, you know. I love the whole album, but my favorite, actually the whole album is my favorite, but there are two songs that actually stands out. It's actually Leleme la ga Koko Feke. Ooh, yes. Beautiful. And then Libudiba, and then Eleba Beats. Actually, the whole album. But I'm aware that at the center of what you do is this phrase that you also have on your WhatsApp status, and I think also it's I think I also saw it pinned on your Facebook. Somebody was actually thanking you for
for the project that we had
for a project, but I could get at the center of this is the idea of language is a memory.
Yes.
You know, can we talk about that? Ooh. What does language mean for you?
It's an interesting thing how actually like I came to write that is that I was speaking with Mjele Msimang, an amazing writer, by the way. So something random, like there's a random question that goes like, if you would have superpowers, what would you have? And you know how as an artist, especially like as a poet, we try to run away from cliches. So I don't want to say like flying, become an invisible man and everything. So I sat down and I was like, I would actually would love the superpower of knowing every language that I get to run into. Right. And then in the unfolding, we get to say like, that is actually like OP, right? And then meaning that to know a language is to know whatever that happened and how it came to be, right? So for example, boela kalana, ka Spade. To go and understand that phrase is that you go like, kalana is actually like a branch. And then like, calling this Kalana, how did it get to that? Is to question how the formation of language comes to be. It's to trace back to the creation of language from when there was one type of bird, and when speciation happened, there were like two types of birds of almost the same species and everything. So it traces back to the reverse creation of language or the expansion of language. So that's why to know a language is to know the history of the people. So that's why language is the memory of the people. Yes. So that's how it came to be.
It makes sense. Something that you do frequently in your work, and you beautifully do it, and it imponsa gore this person is actually in love with languages. How you actually have this unique ability of building two worlds, or building a parallel between two worlds, and then just like right from one perspective. There is a line in the I'm not sure if ke leleme la gago ko feke. You speak about the slaughtering of the language, at the same time, it sort of like gives you a picture of an animal. So it's like you have a picture of an animal that is being slaughtered with this knife that was sharpened using Western ways of sharpening this thing. I'm not sure if I have it here. Let me just see, because I think I wrote a lot of things here, because I did ask you so li romela dilo tse o di ngwadileng ka Sepedi and you didn't. Okay, I can't see it. I can't see it. But okay, ere go timelelwa ke polelo. This is the poem that I was talking about. Go timelelwa ke polelo ke go timelela ke tsela ya go ya gae. Ge e le nna setlogolo sa feke. Ke sale ka go bua dinonwane. Dinonwane, obviously it's tales, the story, dipadi. Ge e le nna setlogolo sa feke ke sale ka go bua dinonwane ka thipa ya go loujwa, which means to sharpen. Ka seesimane, which it's Western ways or English. So I'm like, how are you able to do that? Because you also did that in your, also congratulations for the Naledi Award nominee, man.
Thank you very much, bro.
Super proud of you. Yeah, you also did that in prayer. You were able to build two worlds between prayer and sex, and which is, as people bas do, maybe we're gonna kill you for that. But I want to know how are you able to do that?
So as a I'll say typical poet, we work with comparison, right? Meaning that you're trying to be like, I see this as something that is outside of it, right? So for example, mo ge re like reloja like polelo eo, then gore kgone go bua dinonwane. It was actually complimenting or speaking about how even in my English work they're inspired by Sepedi. The concepts, how it took a village to raise a child, to several of the works. Bokoko Berta bolela like all these phrases because she was a storyteller. But that's why actually like leleme la Koko Feke, Bokoko, her nickname was Koko Feke. So what I was doing there, it was just going like speaking about how I use both languages, but my objective is enjoying Sepedi. And then the reflection or having an extension of where people can actually, or more people can actually hear the work, is in English, right? It's a challenge to write in English. It's fun to write in Sepedi. So that's what it is for me. So I bring the fun and the challenge together. And the moment that happens, I get too excited.
I love that.
Yeah.
There's a poem. I want to actually ask you about Leleme la Koko Feke a little bit, but there was a poem that you performed, I think, last year or a year before the release of Diphiri. And I felt like it was a forewarning, or it was like giving us a glimpse of what is to come, because in that poem you kept on repeating there's two parallel between secret and hyenas. You were saying you were actually saying that Diphiri di nwa madi, they suck blood, but you also translated it into how secrets can do that, but also how hyenas can do that. So I love it so much when you do that. I think you are one of the few people who do that very well, and it's inspiring. As a writer, if you want to learn how to do that, then Soli is the person to learn from.
It becomes a fun thing, exploiting different worlds of one thing, right? For example, like it's like that binary or like that triple entendre that would happen. Diphiri. I don't know why I never got to make it like 3 now and like include Diphiri. Right? Because like it's that thing of like exploiting one word whereby like the sequids can kill, while the hyenas also can kill, right? It was a fun thing to do, and also it was one of the examples to see or to show like how I'm able to interact with both, because it just goes like the saying in Sepedi goes, but Diphiri translation, they were taken by hyenas or they disappeared into a hyena's mouth. The line can also be read, but Diphiri translation, they were taken by secrets or they disappeared into a secret's mouth. So showing like those different layers of how one line in Sepedi can mean two in English, or it can mean like different palettes. It can show just different palettes by just being there, right? Because I love imagery in Sepedi. I love the imagery and the detailing.
Yeah.
Right. You know how uncle, ke malome, ke rangwane, wa bona. So like that expansion of like how one thing can mean a lot
Yeah.
is one of my favorite things to do. So I like exploiting the possibilities of seeing beyond what one word can be.
I love that. And you do that very well. Lelemela kokofeke. There's a part that I love so much because of one of the reason why I love this poem is because of, I don't know if it's how you intended it for it to be, but it's layered. You know, when I read the poem, I get the idea of in a way that we didn't listen, you know, the secrets of the universe, you know, the knowledge, you know. I think also you guys also speak about it more, the song by Fitile, you know, we didn't take that knowledge from them, you know. How re atla sa motsumi siaswa re bolawa ke tlala re koba botsididi ka Setswana ke botsididi ka go bitsa tlala le lemeng la pokoko nta reja la go efetša e bore pula ke moagishane wa go se re bolediše. I was like and then e bore koko motšatši o lekile go re ruta go bina ra re mashaedi. And then the next line to wrap up this thing, you said maro a bile moganya phatleng a emetše lerole la koša. You know, can you break down what does this mean for somebody who wouldn't get it?
So it was on hunger, but the hunger, as much as it's in the mouth, is not for the sake of the stomach, but for the sake of the mind, right? So kila ya gore Vatsumi, we can call them storytellers, as bokoko feke re ka re ke bona Vatsumi.
And they're also hunters.
Yes. So kila ya gore ke Vatsumi in this context, right? To sit down and capture the stories in whatever way and feed them to your children. It's in that way. So let's say like an ex ke yona selepe. So mpeng being the wood, right? So if mpeng o kgaogane le chipiela and then re gotša mollo ka ona, maybe o tla ja mara ka boshiu o ka se direng.
You won't have a weapon to go and hunt.
Exactly. So it was like signifying the possibility of the dying, of the capturing of stories, right? So, and then that's why Rekwabuchididi as well, because if we are actually not using the axe will not only hunt, but it would get us the firewood. So the fire there, we're going to run out of Mpengwa Selepe, and then Rekwabuchididi molelemeng la rena. And then Rekwabuchididi, it means that it's a form of poverty for me, right? That's why so it's to be poor, right? So here I'll be happy one day. Anyway. So it's that thing of like nta is barely like o ka se bone ge ile kwale nta ke like it's really really little. So go ija gore e fele gore like it speaks about the desperation that is happening there. So koko mochachi o lekile. So koko mochachi, we could take them as the mochachi or also the hunters, right? This is how we can expand the language from like the dancing to the music to the nonani to the speaking, and then we were like, nah, we're not good dancers, so we're not gonna learn. So that's us saying like, nah, we would rather speak just English, right? And for me personally, it's a thing of like, I can speak the English, but I appreciate like Sepedi so much, and I wish like someone like, even if it's not like Sepedi for me it's gonna be Sepedi because Pedi. So that's why Maru. We know about like Queen Mujaji being the rain queen, whereby she dances and then the rain just comes.
Yeah.
So it's saying gore Koko Mujaji o rutile gore go bina ra re mashahidi. Maru a beile mokganya phatleng. Go beya mokganya phatleng is to wait. Just to be in wait. You're waiting and going like, I'm waiting for it, like, come or
I
go.
see that phrase a lot, and I was wondering gore,
Era gore.
era gore,
Yeah.
because of I was trying to say what if do we have something and I couldn't find any.
Yeah, no, it's just like and it's been waiting for long. Now it's being impatient and it's waiting for signal. And the cloud signal for rain in the context of Queen Mujaji is the dust. To be like, you haven't visited us. So like that's why I get like the clouds are just here, but they are not. They're
They've
not
been
visiting.
waiting for the signal from people who are dancing.
Yes.
Yeah.
So like it being Marishan Warosa means that he's there, it's there,
Yeah.
but it's just not coming. You know, like when there's a quarrel between neighbors, and they're still close to each other, right? That's what happens. And to complement what happens up there is that if it rains, the trees will grow. And if the trees will grow, the animals are eating, would be able to point that, oh, kitlo yel. Oh, motlarola ke mosetla. Oh, ke morula motlarola. And that's other ways to get to know language.
Yeah.
It's to know names, right? There's another like body of work that I have. I barely perform it. It goes by like we're born into names, holding our villages together. These names are living libraries which taught us how to take care of these lands by giving them names. So that's how it goes. To know names is to also know the depth of something. If you know something's name or someone's name, you already like reached to a certain extent. And now you will learn how to call it beyond just with the name. You've reached a certain sentence, right? And that's what it means. If the rain is not coming, re ka se kgone go loja mpheng o mongwe ra beya kotaela mo go cheapy ra yo rema ra continue go rema. So that's where the complement or the flow actually goes from.
Yeah. It's beautiful, you know. Also I got that, but the thing that I obviously got was that we have tools, but we don't know how to use them.
Yes.
And therefore, we can't access this rain, which is our neighbor. It's just here.
Yeah.
But because of we don't know the dance, we don't know the songs, we don't
Yes.
know the tools. Because of
Yes.
because of lack of knowledge. You know, the Bible says that my people perish because of
Lack
the
of
lack of
knowledge.
knowledge. You know, yeah, it's a very beautiful poem, man. And I think mahuma khubidu ke keng. There's a part where you say mahuma khubidu gona la go tseba mo pula e theogang le rona ga re fetsa go rapela ka setokwa.
Ooh, fun fact, when we were like children in primary school, so gona le noka, right? There's this river, and then after the river, like go ya ka Moshe ga noka, there was just like this hill, and it was like the soil was red, but after the river, the soil was white, right? And there was where the community will all meet, the community of like Polen, Kala, Mochlek, Kamoshe, they would all meet to pray for rain. Whatever church, whatever religion, but we'll just meet there and pray for rain. And it was like, yeah, it was like way before 2008 or so, like way back before. Anytime from like 2001 to 2007, 8, right? That's when I was in primary. So what happens is that we would pray, there would be a service, and then everybody is there, especially the children. Like they would make sure that especially the children are there. And then after that, sometimes when we were just going down the hill, it was like the hill was just like this, but made of sand. And then because it's red, and then when we were going down there, sometimes after an amen, the rain would start drizzling. It was some of like the beautiful highlights, and the people who are from like Pole and Kala could testify to that. And would be running all the way home as it's just drizzling. In most cases, wouldn't get home before the drizzle, right? That's like that's what it simply means. Because right now, and pula ina lo sokodisha.
because if they've lost that knowledge.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it was like that. So kuona like like, do you know where to access this beyond Queen Mujaji, who we know that right now some people can be like, but the responsibility is on the Queen Mujaji, and we can go like Queen Mujaji ke Balobedu, right? They have that. Rena ra tseba gore re ba tokwa, re ba kone, ba bangwe ke ba hananwa. Rena pula be re tlisha bjang ka gae. And we were just praying to God there, all as one, being in one accord, whatever who the human being is. And we know that the rain will come.
How did pollen shape the kind of person that you are? And also, why is Sanzane Enali Lina Lasco?
Yeah, that's a very interesting thing. Ke phela ke botsisha gore, why it was that. So we actually did a research on how pollen was actually conceived. Pollen ke naga borekwa. So it's a land that was bought, right? So my great grandfathers and everyone, they're coming from Botokwa. And then they bought that land. There were like some elders who bought that land. That's why Roya Pollen, most of the people there are actually relatives, which is probably one of the reasons why I never dated home. But for Sadil.
Yeah.
So it became pollen. I think they renamed it after the white man who sold them the thingy.
Oh.
Yeah. So like that's why like the names they're like that. Ronald Pollen. So like pollen, Karlsruhe, Mochlek. There is like Monte Cristo. There's Dioren. There's Breda. At least the Ronald Mogalakwena. It's like that. There's Matnau. I don't know what that means. So like the lands around there, that's why they ended up with that kind of a name. I wish they would change it, but yeah. And it really shaped who I am, because it's like a village. When I tell people like I come from the village, when I'm saying like I could call someone who is like I call him neighbor because that's the closest person. Or that close, whereby like it goes to like I used to fish. I used to that's me. I know how to do all those things. Hoteasifu, I could name you like several birds. I know how to swim because I learned in the actual river. I know how to fish with my hands. So all those experience and some of these things that I'm saying, I'm not just taking them from somewhere else. I've done them. It tastes like literally. I just recently discovered like years ago, and then Basotho would look at me like, and then apparently it means something where like the food comes out of.
Oh.
Yes, and now I just know it is it's like a hornbill. That one yes.
And then it goes to Sutung.
And then goes to Sutung, it's like asshole.
Oh.
So it's like that, right?
By the way. Toilet.
Yeah,
there's
I just love the palettes of how like one thing can just be that and that, like in the euphemism. And actually, like fun fact about Leleme la Kokofeke. Leleme la Kokofeke happened like probably like 4 days ago. And then 4 years, not days, 4 years, which was like years before even like the speaking about Diphiri happened. And what happened is that I did it as an experiment, wrote it and took it out there, right? And sent it to like relatives and people at home. Fun fact, it got to prove that it's not that people don't understand poetry, it's the relatability that happens. I didn't have to unfold what the poem means. They understood it from uncles, the young, the old. It was just about the relevance, right? Whereby they forgot poetry and then they heard the story. And that's what it is for me. I really write a poem.
I love that. And Khatora said close to 2 minutes.
Yes.
But also, when I listen to the album, I also get the sense that this is an album that you can enjoy without understanding. You know, for me, it was just for the sake of it. I want to understand what does it mean. But it's a beautiful language to a point where I think even somebody in France is going to be transported because the usage of song, you know, the instruments, your words, it's like, it was beautiful. Soli, something is coming towards month end. Performer. Can you tell people what performer kokai?
26th of March. I'll be like at the Inside Out Theatre, Art Center It's in like 119 Jan Smart Street, like just a bit outside of Joburg. So I'll be doing some poems there. I'll just be showcasing some of my both Sepedi and English, some of them from the album actually, and new work here and there, of course. So yeah, it is that, and then I will also get to play some of the background music from the album with Masai also singing, because he does like an amazing job. I wish I could go like in Kadime voice so that I can go like sing with it, but unfortunately, because he does an amazing
That's
job
beautiful.
with that.
How do you feel about the Naledi Award? Prayer, it's a beautiful play. You were working with Uvusi. You know, how's the feeling between you guys and the team?
It's we don't take it lightly. Like even if it's like just that one nomination, we don't take it lightly, especially like looking at the work. Prayers is like, as much as we've done some theater work, but Prayers has been officially like a theater script. Even if it's poetic, it's like a poetic theater script. It's not a compilation of poems, right? And having to do that, especially like Another Different Light, that we did it with an actor, and then we got to accumulate and accommodate all these parts of ourselves and all these accolades as well. It's a beautiful thing. I'm in awe, and I'm appreciating all these things, and appreciative of God and my cast, my team. They really know how to hold it down. So I'm full of appreciation.
I love it.
Yeah.
Today I had you as a poet.
Yes.
Next time I'm going to talk to you as a playwright.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. But I close the show by this. It's a line actually that I wanted to ask Solihor, what does it actually mean? It's from Budiba, which is another favorite song of mine from the album Diphiri. Please check it out. It's available on Spotify. That's where I find it. It's actually available on all the streaming services.
Platform.
Yeah. Ere ke kwele ya gore bana ba tlogetse dijo le marobalo go samela meedi ya matšhila. Nna ke re ba shile gae go hwetša naga ya go ba amogela, ya go amogela moya le mantšu a bona. What did that mean?
So we know that you have to leave. It's that thing of like you grow to leave and find your own house, your own space, your own voice, your own family. Basically, that's what it was meaning. So when people quarrel, it's okay when the family does that, but there's a certain age whereby and then
thank you so much for joining me, my brother.
Thank you very much.
I wish we had more time, but
Yeah.
I'll definitely make more time again.
Most definitely. Most definitely.
Right, so inalameke kabelo se gift khang enele soli Ramatswi. This is the Ink and Thing podcast. Thank you, and thank you to Soli.
Salute.